lads, and welcome to a very special episode of the Harsh Vocals Podcast. Christian's here with me, and we're also joined by our buddy Justin Lawnchair, a.k.a. the Biscuit Merchant. How are you doing, Justin?
Doing good. How are you?
Doing pretty good. It's a nice Saturday morning. Nothing to do today except listen to music.
Hell yeah.
And there's a lot of good stuff that came out.
Yes,
the last
indeed.
week and a half. Yeah. It's crazy. Just keeps going.
And speaking of new stuff, you have a new album on the horizon. It's about a week out from release. So we wanted to have you on and get a chance to talk to you and pick your brain a little bit about it. So you want to just start by telling our audience a little bit about the album and what went into it?
Sure, yeah. So the new album's called Golden Age. It's coming out on May 8th, and it is the 12th or 11th. I literally get confused myself. The 12th album as a part of the Alpha Project. Basically what I'm doing is I'm making 26 albums, one each for each letter of the alphabet. And then when it's all done, you can listen to them from A to Z, and they will all flow together. So the end of the hypothetical F album will sort of flow into Golden Age, and then the end of Golden Age is going to flow into the hypothetical H album. So this one is a little bit more song-focused, I would say, than the previous year's album, Tempora. Big part of that is because I have a band now that I'm working with to play live shows. We've mostly been sticking around Michigan, but we're branching out a little bit this year. We're going to be playing a show in Arkansas at the Arkansas Death Fest. And this album was a very concerted effort to be a little bit more song focused, try to write things that work better in a live setting, just mosh pit fodder, wall of death fodder, just something to get people moving. And it's been really fun to not only write something that's a little bit more stripped down and tighter song wise, but the rehearsals have been amazing. So I'm really, really excited to get out there and play this stuff for people. I think it's going to be really fun.
That's great to hear.
That's actually one of the questions that I had was, like, how do you pull this off in a live setting? Like, this has to be incredibly difficult to pull off live.
Yeah, a lot of it is. And people will ask me on, Instagram and in these interviews so far of like, well, how are you going to do this song? Or how are you going to do that song? And the short answer is we're not going to. Some of them are just they're not feasible. It's not that they're not possible. It's just that given our current setup, they're just not going to work. We're going pretty intense on some of these. So we're playing a lot of the heavier ones off of the new album, but there's a couple like Ubiquitous Gaze and Necessary Evil off of the new album are not feasible right now because those are played on 9-string guitars, and I only have one 9-string guitar, and I have 2 guitar players that need 9-string guitars. So at the moment, we're not able to do songs like that, but we're going to do the 2 singles, and we're going to do a secret third song off of the album that is one of the heavier ones, maybe one of the ones that you wouldn't expect us to even attempt, but we're doing it and it's working.
Awesome.
All right.
Yeah, Ubiquitous Gaze, you mentioned that one. That's the Doomy song on the new album, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Interesting.
Before we fully get started, I just have to ask this. What is one question you wish someone would ask you instead of asking what the name Biscuit Merchant means?
Ooh, that's an interesting way to think about that, because I'm always geared up for the question, but I've never actually thought of what would I prefer people ask. I don't know. I guess maybe I think the question of why the alphabet thing is much more interesting, and people usually will ask that as well. Mm-hmm. So it's not that I've never been asked that before, but I think that's considerably more interesting of a question and has a more interesting answer.
Well, what is the answer?
20.
Yeah, sure. So there were 2 things. So one, I was really big into Dream Theater when I was in middle school and high school. I still am, but I really liked what they did in the mid-2000s, where all of their albums would end a particular way, and then the next one would kind of pick up where it left off. So Scenes from a Memory ends with this like radio phonograph static. And then that same static sample is what started the next album. And then the next album ended on like this big, long orchestral note. And then the next album kind of starts with like a big fading in orchestral note. I thought that was just so cool. And I was kind of mad that they stopped doing that because I really liked the continuity of it. And it felt like episodes of a TV show to me, you know, like it would build on what came before it. And so then the other thing that I loved when I was growing up was in listening to Morbid Angel, and you would look at their discography and how it's in alphabetical order. That brought me such like joy. It's like a little bit of OCD of like, ooh, look at that. They're all in alphabetical order.
We get that. We're very OCD as well.
Yeah. It's one of those things. And then like looking at that, I think at the time I had gotten into them, they were only on Heretic and they hadn't released anything in like 8 years or something like that. And I was like, dude, I don't think they're going to make it. Like, I don't think they're going to get down to Z. And then like, what do you do after Z? And it like, I had all of these questions. And then when I started writing my own music, I figured out pretty quickly, like I've always been a huge believer in the album, and I want to reward people who will actually stick it out and listen to a full album. I want to give them a reason to do that. I put a lot of effort into making sure that the albums flow really well, but also, you know, to give people a reason to look at another album. You know, I want people to listen to the end of Golden Age and hear the ending of Edge of the Earth and be like, ooh, like, where is this going? I can't wait to find out. You're going to have to wait 10 years probably until I get to the H album. I don't know, but you know, it plants that seed in your mind. And so I decided pretty early, I was like, all right, I want to actually finish this. I want to actually do 26 albums, and I'm going to hold myself to a pretty strict schedule in order to make that happen, because I don't want to run out of time or die or anything, you know? So, and then I wanted them to flow alphabetically. I didn't want to necessarily release them in alphabetical order because I think that's too predictable, which that kind of goes back into the whole question of my name as well. It's, you know, trying to not be too predictable.
Right.
And so I thought, I was like, why not kind of combine both of those approaches and build something that people can engage with in a bunch of different ways. Like you can listen to just one album, or you can listen to a run of 4. Like my favorite thing that is out right now is the fact that you can do Tempora, Unexplained Wounds, Visible Scars, and When Heart and Mind Collide. Like those 4 are out right now. So you can see what the eventual like end of it is going to feel like when it's all completed. Like you can see the threads between those 4 albums. And I think it's really cool. And I'm looking forward to finishing that. It's been a long time, and it's immensely rewarding. And I love it when people engage with that side of it, because it's a lot to go through.
26 albums, and you're that's kind of insane, really. I mean, there's bands that have been around for 30 years that don't even have 15 albums. So
I know. I get that a lot, the insane comment.
Oh yeah. Well, you know, even like Justin and I were talking before you hopped on about what it is about your records that, like, I'm of the opinion that it's not necessarily hooks that draw you back in. It's the idea that you may have missed something, because there's so much going on that it rewards active listening. So like sitting back and letting it just wash over you as you concentrate on it. And I still think you miss stuff. Because you'll sit there and you'll be like, oh, that was sweet. And as you're sitting there thinking that, some, you know, 2 other genres just went by, and you know, you're just like, oh shit, wait a minute, I got to back that up a little bit. So how do you manage to keep all this straight? Because this has got to be a lot.
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I mean, I really appreciate you saying that, because there is a lot of concerted effort into making something that does reward repeated listening. Like I really try to make it, you know, I think you may find on Golden Age, like there's a little bit more focus on trying to build hooks and things that kind of get people's attention on that first go around. But yeah, you're absolutely right. There's a lot more going on in here. maybe even story-wise, but also absolutely musically, than I think people are aware of. And that's probably because of how much I've actually let on as well. But either way, potato, right? So yeah, to keep it all straight, I mean, the short answer is I really don't. I I really just write what I want to write. The albums very much have theming. Like, I could go through every one. I don't need to, but like Visible Scars, for example, I was like, I want to just blow people away. Like, I want this to be the fastest, heaviest, most uncompromising thing I've ever made. And I think I achieved that at that time. And then with Tempora, I had kind of realized that I had done 2 albums in a row that were just really punchy and really forthright, like super aggressive. And I was like, all right, I feel like I'm almost neglecting the people that may have gotten into my work with the stuff like Unexplained Wounds and Memento Mori, kind of like that darker, proggier side of things. So I was like, all right, I'm just going to make a concept album. Go back full prog. And then midway through recording the concept album, I was like, this is killing me. This is way too much to think about. These arrangements are too dense. And this is right when I got the band going too, right? So I was like, cool, I can only play one of these songs live. So let's fix that. And then Golden Age, particularly, I think there was a little bit of an effort to this stems half from mild frustration with PR companies not knowing what to do with me. Like,
I can imagine.
I've heard from a lot of people that, I mean, I won't name names, but a couple of different individual people and a couple of different companies have said, like, yeah, your sound is just, it's a bit too unique.
I mean,
and I've said,
unique's not a bad word.
Sorry. Right. I know, it's like you're saying a good thing in my mind, but you're, using that to explain why you don't understand what you're doing with it. It was kind of funny. But so this time around, there was a bit of an effort put into not only making things that fit a little bit more in a live setting, but also kind of a tremendous, like, oh, okay, like you want me to pick a lane, here's as many different lanes as you can possibly handle. Right? Because that's what I do. Like, I can't follow the trends. I mean, like, there's a reason that my band name isn't named after some generic obscure disease or some kind of torturous medical procedure, right? I know that would be the easy way out,
right?
To be a death metal band and have a death metal name. I'm not interested in doing that. I'm not interested in following.
You certainly could, because you've made songs that are, straight up death metal or straight up black metal.
Totally.
And they're fantastic. Yeah. But I like how diverse you are and how dense your albums are, because it does reward repeat listens, and it does keep you invested in active listening when you are trying to enjoy it. Because far too often, like, even albums I actively listen a couple of times and then I move on to passively listening while I'm doing other things. I don't think you've released an album that I've heard that I could do that with, because it's too hard to focus while you're doing something else on what's going on.
Yeah.
And just to kind of put it in perspective, like the diversity on Golden Age, I mean, track 5, Paradox Bomb, that was my favorite song on the album. Oh, cool. It is a bit more black metal leaning, but there's a lot of cleans. It's very diverse. I also liked Kingdom and Chaos. It's a more of a mellow death, proggy sort of thing, I think. Yeah. Track 4 was a straight up doom metal song for the majority of it. Very slow, which isn't necessarily my favorite. I'm not a huge doom metal fan, but if you like doom metal, you'll probably love that song. I think it's like, very much in people's wheelhouse. And then track 9, I don't even know how to explain track 9. It felt to me like it belonged in a 2000s era teenage comedy, like a love song in a romance movie that turns into a metal song at the end. And who makes an album that contains so much diversity? It's
me.
Yeah, you're the only person I could think of that does something like that.
Right.
I mean,
one of Devin Townsend. I mean, like, I have to give credit. Yeah. Like, I have no delusions that I'm like the only person who makes diverse music. Like, that's crazy egotistical of me to even think something like that. But also, like, I listened to a lot of Devin Townsend when I was growing up, a lot of Dream Theater. Like, Dream Theater will do things like that too. Like, they got a lot of flack even in the 90s because, like, one of their songs just sounds like a U2 power ballad. And I'm just like, I like that. I think it's really cool that they can stretch their wings and try stuff like that. And like Devin Townsend and bands like Psy that just go ballistic. Like, they just write whatever the hell they want to. And that inspires me. I like when people do that.
A lot of it has to do with the song placement too. Like, those kind of outlier songs work really well if you put them in the right spot. But if they're in the wrong spot, it can derail the whole album. So
absolutely,
I think you do a really good job of your organization of your songs on your albums.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
You were saying earlier that, you know, a lot of the PR people really don't know what to do with you. Has anybody ever, and this is probably be shitty if they did, has anybody ever suggested you streamline your sound a little bit? Maybe don't make it too much, you know?
You know, not in so many words. I think there's maybe like an implication of that, perhaps, but it's never been like, I've never had anybody tell me that it's like bad for business. Like, I've had people tell me that my name is bad for my brand, PR companies, and, you know, people that I know in real life have said, like, I don't know if this is like the best fit for you. And I said, I don't know if I really care.
Well, you know, there's a counterpoint to that. It's an unforgettable name. Like, when you see it, you're like, what the hell's the Biscuit Merchant? And then, you know, 2 years later, when you see an album come up again, you'll be like, I remember seeing that name. What was that? So, I mean, at the very least, it spawns curiosity and makes people want to check it out. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad name. It's just not standard.
No, absolutely. And I mean, that is a lot of times, I think, why. And it was never that they were saying, like, this is what I need to do to, like, get ahead, so to speak. It was more like they were trying to explain to me why they weren't necessarily getting the results that they had insinuated that they would be able to get. And that's fine. You know, I don't believe that anybody in this world is guaranteed success. The only thing that I can continue to do is be true to myself and make what I want to make, because at the end of the day, in this society, the only thing I have is my integrity.
Yeah.
That's all I have.
Yeah.
So changing my name to something more death metal-y, or changing my sound to appease anybody else, let alone, you know, somebody who might have like a financial directive in mind for me, it's just not the way that I'm going to go.
I don't blame you. I wouldn't either. Yep. I mean, you know, metal musicians, we've talked about this a lot. We've talked with interviews about this a lot. You know, most people don't get into this to try to make money and to try to become rich and famous. Like, you're doing this for passion. You're doing this for yourself. And you got to stay true to yourself. Otherwise, what's the point?
Yep, absolutely.
I was always thinking that your music sounds kind of chaotic, but in a controlled type of chaos. What does your songwriting process actually look like?
Yeah, I mean, I'm sure it probably seems very chaotic because of the genre hopping, but it's pretty standard. I mean, it all starts on the guitar. I'm a guitar player first and foremost. So, and I mean, you can probably tell based on the fact that I take solos in every song, and every song pretty much has like an establishment based on the riff. I would say, you know, that main riff is kind of where it starts. It's the backbone of everything. So more frequently nowadays, I will get an idea for a guitar part, and it will just kind of be a guitar part. It'll be something thrashy. It'll be something death metal-y. I've got things I'm working on for the next album that are maybe a little bit more in line with House on a Hill, track 9, the one that sounds like a, you know, early 90s teenage power ballad. There's things that are kind of going in that direction too. It's important to me that the songs themselves feel controlled. The albums can be as chaotic as they care to be. I think Golden Age is kind of the poster child for that in terms of the the jumping around and not letting anybody get too comfortable. And part of that is because that's the kind of thing that I would want to listen to as well. And I don't care if I'm the only person in the world that enjoys every single song on Golden Age. I'm not expecting that. I'm sure that some of those things are just not up people's alleys. But it's interesting to me how Justin, you said that you really enjoyed Paradox Bomb, and I can't tell you how close I was to cutting that song.
Oh, really?
Yeah. And another friend of mine he does a bunch of Facebook reviews. His name is Draco. He said he really liked Necessary Evil, and I was like, those were the two songs that I was like, if I had to axe one of them, it was going to be one of those, and that it is further evidence as to why I should never do that.
Yeah.
And it's not going to happen. You know, whatever crazy direction I choose to go into, I know that there's probably somebody out there who is going to be like, this was the highlight of the album for me. So
yeah,
that's what I'm going to keep doing. But yeah, the basic process is guitars. And then more often than not lately, because I've been focusing so much on vocals and also being able to play and sing at the same time, which is not for the faint of heart, vocal parts have kind of come forward a little bit more in terms of I'm thinking about them sooner. Before, I would have full instrumental songs without a single vocal idea, and I would just kind of attack that when I got there. But nowadays, with playing some of these things live, I'm thinking about the vocal lines as I'm writing the riff to make sure that I can do it. And then, yeah, bass and drums have come forward a little bit too. I've noticed in helping my bandmates learn how to play the songs, I'm a little bit more intentional with making things legible for them, like for them to be able to follow it and also able to play. And then make the parts a little bit more interesting, too. I think the songs on Golden Age that we're going to play live, I was much more careful about making sure that the drum parts were satisfying, not only to listen to, but to play. And same with the bass. The bass is doing a lot more on this new album rather than just following the guitars.
So with your bandmates, are they involved in the songwriting process at all? I mean, I know you're writing everything, but do you bounce ideas off them? Do you share with them? Do you collaborate with them on any of the creation aspects or just the performance aspects?
Yeah, it's mostly, I would say it's 95% the performance. The only way that they've really influenced the process is the fact that they're there.
Okay.
Like the creative process. I mean, like when I'm actually writing the songs. But what I do love and what I have never been shy about letting them do, especially with the old songs, is to play the part however they want. And if they have an idea of something that they might want to do, like Dan, my bass player, is great about this. He will take a part that was pretty much written just to be an accompaniment to the guitars. And he's always like, well, hey, what if I did this with it? And I have never told him no, ever. Like everything that he comes up with is perfect. He has really added a different layer, especially to some of those old songs live. And Drew, my rhythm guitar player, does the same thing. Like Trauma Collective, the song from Phobia, is one that we've played live off and on and that we're thinking about probably bringing back at some point. And the chorus of that song, like they both kind of wrote a new part that just really adds a lot to it. That said, I mean, I'm sure the follow-up question to that is like, gosh, you're saying all of these great things about them. Like, why not let them contribute to the creative process? And the short answer is I've done, 11, working on 12 of these things so far, and it's been just me. And I feel like switching that at this point would be, I don't really want to do it.
Yeah, that's fair. It's
been my vision the entire time. Yeah. And I think it needs to stay that way. That said, once I'm done with the Alpha project, I mean, there's 100 other things that I want to do with regards to collaborating with other musician friends that I've made over the years, both in my band and online. Like I'm really good friends with Steve from Am I in Trouble and Negative Bliss, and
yeah, he's a good friend of ours too.
And
yeah,
all of those things, all of his 50 bands that he plays in.
He's in everything and he knows everybody because
exactly.
at least once a week I get an email with, "Hey, I'm Steve's friend. He said maybe you'd help us out."
Yeah. He's awesome. I love Steve.
Yeah, he's a great guy.
But I would love to, be a part of his 500th band. and people that I know in real life too. But yeah, the Biscuit Merchant stuff, the Alpha Project stuff, I decided pretty soon after I put the band together, as cool as it would be to have them involved in the creative and recording process, it's gotta be me.
Do you ever think with some of those songs that they're revitalizing with new ideas, like you could go back and re-record them, like the newer versions?
It would be a really interesting idea. I think I worry a lot about re-recordings because I've even heard remixes and remasters that just totally miss the boat.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't want to be that,
No, I get that. Yeah.
Yeah. But what I would really like to do is I'd really love to do a live album.
That'd be cool.
That way you're kind of getting the best of both worlds, right? You're getting to hear some of the reorchestrations that the other guys have done. You're getting to hear them with a different energy. Like obviously the recordings that I do, they're all clicked. They're all snapped to grids because that's what modern metal is. And I'm not here to say whether or not that's good or bad. That's just how we do it. But when we play live, we don't play to a click. We let the energy dictate everything, and sometimes it dictates it a lot.
Maybe you could do a live album like after you hit the midway mark on the 26th.
That's an interesting idea because that's about 2 years away. That is a really good idea.
Yeah,
I think that would be really cool because that way I don't have to kind of compromise the integrity of the original recordings, but I can still kind of let my bandmates' contribution shine through a little bit more and give people that opportunity of like, I don't know, maybe there's that one person out there who's like, man, I really like this dude's stuff, but it's all clicked and it's like it doesn't breathe, it doesn't have energy. Cool. Live album. Enjoy.
Yeah, definitely.
I've kind of noticed that your overall sound sounds huge. And that's kind of rare for a solo project to sound. How do you build that scale?
Yeah, and I mean, I wish I could take credit for that at all, but it's all my mix guy. His name is Spencer Maxfield, and he is insane. Like that guy knows what heavy music is supposed to sound like. I actually met him as I'm a guitar teacher, like that's my day job. So he came in for lessons, and I'm kind of the guy in my town that, like, if you want to learn how to play metal, like I'm the guy that you go to. Mm-hmm. And so he came to my studio and, started taking lessons. And obviously we were talking all the while because he really wanted to learn how to play like Testament and Killswitch Engage and like these bands that just have big, huge, delicious production quality, And he had, I don't even remember how it came up, but he had dropped at some point that he was a mix engineer. Like he had been working on it, kind of doing it out of his house. And I hadn't brought up that I recorded or did anything with the Biscuit Merchant because that's just not what I'm there to do. I'm not there to promote my music. I'm there providing a service, right?
Yeah.
And I don't know, something possessed me one day. I was like, I had been mixing everything myself. And I mean, you can still hear the results of that if you go back far enough to When Heart and Mind Collide is the only album that I have on Spotify right now that I mixed myself. It's rough. It's not up to the quality of my current work, and it's all Spencer, literally. I had him do a test mix of one of the songs off of Unexplained Wounds, and I was like, I'd be a fool if I let this dude walk away. Mm-hmm. And we've been working together ever since. And, as I think we've all leveled up together, like myself, Spencer, and Nelson, my mastering engineer, who we, send it off to when it's done. All of us have really leveled up our abilities over the last 7 or 8 years. And now we're left with these gigantic, huge productions that very much, I think, sound like, full on major label quality stuff. I think.
Absolutely.
I think we've been able to accomplish a
production
lot.
quality on Golden Age is top tier.
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds as good as anything you get from any other, company.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm really happy that we got there, because where it started when I was doing it myself, I listened back to that stuff and it hurts. And I haven't felt that in such a long time, because all of everything that we do now really holds up well. It's all stood the test of time, and they all have kind of their own flavor and their own vibe, and that's all I've ever wanted.
Cool. Circling back to something you said earlier, you talked about the story in your album. Can you tell us more about the overarching story?
Sure. Yeah. So it's very, it's big. Go figure, right? 26 albums. It's got a lot that it needs to say,
right?
And it has a lot to say as well. A lot of the seeds of the story are kind of contained within Tempora. So the idea is it's based on kind of a fictionalized version of Earth. There is the human race, and they are referred to as such. And they have all of the same problems that we have in our real lives. They have problems with disease and tyranny and mental anguish. And there is a race of potentially, I'm going to say, potentially malevolent aliens that are referred to as the Celestials, though that may not be the way that they prefer to be called, but more on that another time, perhaps. And during the course of Tempora, the humans decide that the only way that they can deal with all of their problems is build a gigantic bomb and blow up the whole universe. They want to kill time itself. They feel that time is the source of all of their problems because it never stops moving and it keeps killing everybody and making everything worse. So they decide they're going to kill time by throwing a bomb at it.
That's ambitious.
Right. And then in the story of the album, this is all on the album, so I'm totally cool talking about this side of it. But the bomb doesn't make it out of the atmosphere, and it blows up the entire Earth. It's awesome.
Sweet.
And so the celestial race sees this, and they're like, "Oh shit, we can't do this. We need them." So they end up resetting time, and you can kind of hear this in the ending of Tempora, and they basically go back to before the bomb ever happened. And so the humans kind of wake up, and they sort of have vague memories of what happened, but all they really know is that they're pissed.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So now this is towards the end of the story. So Golden Age, we're coming back around, and this is meant to be kind of the highlight of human existence. Right? So what happens is the human race has collectively decided that they just don't care anymore about one another. They've built a world in which only the powerful can survive and thrive, and they've basically thrown away every single safety net that there could ever be, and they're just going to pull themselves up by their bootstraps up into the sky, pretty much. And that ends up going horribly wrong by the end of Edge of the Earth. The powerful people that were in charge of this this thought process were forced into exile. They're being chased by an angry mob of people who have been wronged by people in charge. And
is that a prediction for the future of America?
I think future is doing a lot of work in that sentence.
Yeah.
I don't think it would be so easy to draw those parallels from Golden Age, and maybe they aren't altogether unwarranted. The reality of the matter is I think the timing in this case was a little bit more convenient than anything else. But this story has been gelling in my head for a long time, and unfortunately, we've got 6 albums that happened before Golden Age to kind of determine how we got here. But the long and short of it is, the humans believe that the Celestials not only created the universe, but purposefully created the universe as some sort of like messed up petri dish that they can kind of experiment with human emotions and basically make them suffer for their amusement or for their science experiments or something. We're not really sure at this point.
Okay. So does
So
all
basically a love story.
Yeah, in so many words. Yeah, that's the thing that most people don't know is eventually the at the end of the Z album, it's just going to be one big orgy.
Oh wow.
Oh, there you go.
That's a joke for people who can't appreciate a dry wit. That is a joke.
So does all this just live in your head, or is there like a Bible you've written that you use as like a guide for the songwriting?
It's getting to the point where I'm going to need a Bible. Yeah, absolutely. The only thing that I have written down is I have a lot of album titles written down because sometimes I'll have an idea of something that would make for a good title and that I feel like will work with the story. And I'll be like, all right, I got to jot this down. Unfortunately, it ends up in situations sometimes where I'll have multiple good titles for the same letter, and that's actually a really difficult situation. Phobia was abysmal. Phobia was actually almost called Paradox Bomb.
Oh,
You can always relegate the not used ones to a song title, at least.
Exactly, right. And I have done that in the past. And because I'm so intentional with the way that the albums have to flow into one another. And with Phobia, like when it was starting out, I was actually thinking about making it a little bit more conceptual, like a story kind of like Tempora was going to be. But then as I was writing the songs, this was like a couple of years post-COVID. So like Trauma Collective is like a big post-COVID song of like, how are we ever going to get back to not being afraid of shit? And there's a lot of other mental health things on that album. And I realized that it's all phobias. It's all fear. Like everything that we deal with, everything that we were dealing with after COVID, not only, but even before. I mean, fear is an integral part of the human experience. And when it moves into irrational territory, that's where the phobia term comes in. And that was most of what that album was about, was irrational fear. So it made too much sense.
Yeah. As diverse as every album is, and as much as it moves back and forth between genres, is there any genre you would absolutely not include as a song, or would you ever push yourself to like try to include a power metal song or a classic or kind of heavy metal sort of sound in a song?
It could happen. I mean, I have never and will never close the door to anything, really. I don't think you're going to see me drop like a hip hop mixtape anytime soon. But I mean, like the first thing that I thought of was I was like, I don't know, I don't think you're going to get a lot of pop country out of me, but like, I don't know, House on a Hill is close. Like it's not that far off. And like I did a song on When Heart and Mind Collide a while back called Within Ourselves that feels almost like indie pop, in a way. Like obviously it's still metal, it's still me, but it's definitely a different direction. So no, I wouldn't ever close myself off. And I think the only thing that I haven't done too much of is like that power metal thing. But even then, like Melodeath and power metal are so close.
Yeah.
Like I think there's some tunes like, I don't know, maybe even Paradox Bomb. Like if that first section had clean vocals instead of death growls and like the screams halfway through, I mean, I think you could draw a power metal comparison fairly effectively.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, I think power metal is largely defined by the vocal styling.
It is
more so than the guitar work. Yeah,
absolutely.
You do a lot of diverse vocal stylings on all of your albums. You hit the highs, you hit the lows, you got the growls, you got a really good clean singing voice actually, which I'm usually very averse to cleans, but I like your cleans throughout most of the songs. So how did you learn to do so much or so many different vocal stylings? Yeah,
I mean, it was a lot of fake it till you make it, honestly. I haven't really had very much formal vocal training. I sat with a voice teacher once or twice, mostly just to work on the thing that she was working on with me the most was actually like posture, which has helped a lot, I think, with singing live. But it was all from listening to all of the bands that I really like these days have varied vocals. So like Carry on Veil is a good example, and Cattle Decapitation is a very good example.
Yeah.
And Alkaloid. And even like Devin Townsend, right? Like I always wanted to be like, I don't really have that big operatic flair that he has, and it bums me out. But he has said that he doesn't really have the death growl. So I'm like, cool. I stole your death growl and you stole my opera. Right? And it's like that was the trade-off. But it started with, I mean, everybody does clean singing throughout their life. If you go to public school and you go into music class, you have to do clean singing. It's just how it is. My first vocal influence was actually, whoa, I got to be careful, old Chris Barnes. Old Chris Barnes. Tomb of the Mutilated. So the stuff where he's just in the basement, like just super low, like gives a new meaning to the word guttural, right?
Yeah.
And I was like, man, how in the hell is he doing that? Like, I couldn't figure it out. And in listening to that, and then I kind of branched out to more Cannibal Corpse. So Corpse Grinder, right? So like he does a lot of that low versus high stuff as well. So I really got interested in that, because as much as I loved Chris Barnes's vocals on those early Cannibal records, it was addictive in a way. Like it just kind of kept you guessing, like which direction is he going to go?
Yeah.
With these vocals, is it going to be low the entire song? Is it going to be high? Is he going to go on a 30-second high scream that makes it sound like he's going to pass out? I loved that. Like that was super cool. And after that, it was more like the next band that kind of made me feel that same sense of discovery. Like when you hear that first death metal record and you first hear that vocal style and you're just like, what is this? Like, what is going on? Like, this is uncharted territory, right? The next band that I had that happen to me for was Cattle.
Yeah.
Specifically with Monolith of Inhumanity.
I guess you were going to say that.
Yeah, right. I know. How many times have I name dropped them? Please notice me. I love Cattle, man. They're
fantastic. I love them too.
When Monolith came out, it was like 2012 or 2013. I put that record on, and I was hearing those goblin vocals in a living, breathing piece of defecating meat, and I was like, I'm not ready for this. Like, the world is not ready for this. This is so heavy and so different. And I kind of circled back to them around when they did Death Atlas, and I was like, man, I hope they kept going with all the weird vocals that they do. And boy, did they.
They expanded on them even.
Yeah. So
I actually saw them perform Death Atlas live last year, the entire thing. It was fucking good.
When they came to Detroit, my wife and I were both at that show. It was nuts. It was so cool.
You think like going forward, since you are working with bandmates, you're going to try to always include 2 to 3 songs that are more geared towards a live setting?
Probably. And I think it'll be kind of by... Not by accident per se, but I think it's going to happen naturally, because even in looking into the back catalog, like I joke a lot at our rehearsals whenever we're like struggling with something, either that the parts are too hard or that the structure is too difficult. I always make the joke of like, well, back when I wrote this, I never thought I would have to think about it ever again. So it is what it is, right?
Yeah.
But even given that, on every album that I've done so far, we've been able to find 2 or 3 songs that are at least feasible to play live. I would love to maybe get to the point someday that either, we can level up our gear or our ability to rehearse more frequently to the point that we could actually like play through an entire album. I think that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Especially, like going to see Death Atlas live, the first literal thought out of my brain when we left that show is like, man, if I could do that with one of my albums, like which one would it be? And I was like, good luck, dude. They're all impossible. Like they all have some kind of huge roadblock, whether or not it's a 9-string song or something that is just never going to happen, like me trying to play and sing it at the same time. But never say never. I think it would be really cool to do something like that. But yeah, I think there's always going to be songs on these new albums going forward that are going to play well in a live setting for sure.
Okay. What about touring? Do you think that now that you have a band, you're going to be touring more frequently?
Yeah, I'd love to. I mean, I think it's all kind of based on, we're in a really weird spot right now because we've played enough local shows that we're definitely ready to branch out, but it's really tough to go into other markets if you don't have like a label behind you or like a booking company or something like that. Like the struggle that I've been running into is in sending emails to venues and things. There a lot of times they will actually respond and they'll say like, "Hey, this is really cool. I just don't have anything for you right now. Like things are just too busy. Like the summer touring circuit is extreme." Yeah. So our best hope of that is to, try to get in good with another band. It's absolutely something that I'm open to. Like I think I mentioned earlier in this pod, we're going to Arkansas to play the Arkansas Death Fest very soon, maybe even by the time this is out. But we're really looking forward to that and getting to play out for some new fans and meet people and just have the experience. We've only played in Michigan and Ohio so far, and we're ready to go play other places. So we're really looking forward to that experience.
Well, I hope the Arkansas Death Fest goes really well for you guys.
Yeah.
I would love to attend, but it's just not in the cards right now.
Yeah.
Typically, when we get to the end of these interviews, we like to ask a couple of questions. Number one is like, what have you been listening to recently that you really enjoyed? I mean, we've kind of already touched on Carrion Vale and Cattle Decapitation, but are there any other more modern bands or newer albums you've been listening to that you've really enjoyed?
Not a ton. I mean, I guess I should say not a ton that would surprise anybody. Like I don't have a ton of deep cuts. I've really gotten into, oh my God, I'm going to screw up the pronunciation. Allegion, whatever you want to call them. I don't actually know.
It's pronounced Allegion.
Allegion, sure, great.
Yeah,
Allegion, fantastic. I used
to go on other podcasts and I would say Allegion all the time until Riley corrected me that it was Allegion. So
perfect.
It's Allegion.
Good. Don't have to make that mistake ever again. I really liked the latest Allegion. I really liked the latest Necrot. It was really good. Of course, it's probably pronounced Necrot or something like that. I don't know.
We always struggle with the pronunciation.
I know, yeah. But yeah, so far that Carrion Vale record is my album of the year for this year. Still waiting on something to pop up and dethrone it. I'm sure it might happen. I really like the new Archspire too. Go figure.
We liked it too. It's not. Yeah. It suffers from being a little samey in places, but
a little bit.
It's like 90% great.
Yeah. Yep, they're undeniable. I mean, like everything that they're going to make going forward is at least going to have some kind of redeeming quality to it. It's good stuff.
Yeah, cool. Well, that about wraps up everything we've got. Typically, at the end of these, we do play a song from the album. So, sure. And we let you pick which song we play to highlight it. So, what do you think we should play for our listeners?
Ooh, okay. I mean, the singles are already out. I feel like they're getting their time in the sun. We've been talking about House on a Hill a lot.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's the right choice though. All right, so let's not do that one. Everybody go listen to that one on your own when it's in context of the full album. I think it works a little bit better in that construct. I kind of like the idea of Paradox Bomb actually. Okay. You said it was your favorite. I think we got to give people got to let people make their own opinions on that one.
I like it. Yeah. It's a good choice in my mind.
Cool.
Well, thanks for taking the time to chat with us today. It was really fun to get to know you a little bit more and learn more about what goes into the albums and everything you've got coming up. So, and definitely keep in touch. We can always do this again later on.
Yeah. Thanks so much for having me, guys. This was fun.